Senator Duniam.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks very much. Thanks, Mr Button, for your appearance today. Just on your monthly performance snapshot there, the deregistration is finalised there, the number of 8. Can you just tell me what the pathway is for a deregistration? Is it something that an organisation volunteers to do, or is it something after the work of your organisation that occurs?
It's an organisation that many of the corporations will volunteer to deregister, and
Right.
we'll have conversations with some of those corporations as well, where they haven't been operating, there isn't much business that's going on, and they're not likely to look at continuing, or they're setting up a new corporation for
Right.
different business.
So it's not as a result of impropriety or...
No, most of the deregistrations that we've got listed here, many of them is the conversations we have with the corporations who aren't trading, aren't doing much, but they're setting up new corporations to do other business. So we're saying
Sure.
deregister that one because you've got this one anyway.
And you say the ones here aren't as a result of that. Do they ever get deregistered because of impropriety or...?
There are some that we do in terms of winding up.
Sure, okay, all right. Well, just on that then, there's a character that's popped up in Tasmania I wanted to ask about, and I suspect he's one that Oric is familiar with, and it's a fellow by the name of Steve Mavrogiannakis, who goes by the name Steve Mav, who was some time ago the CEO of the Goomla Aboriginal Corporation, which is one of the biggest ones in the country. Is that a name familiar to you?
It's not familiar to me,
Okay.
Senator.
Well, I'll just run through some of the issues that are in the public domain around Mr Mavrogiannakis's behaviour and conduct as a CEO of one of these corporations. And they involve Mr Mavrogiannakis claiming thousands of dollars in accommodation expenses from the organisation when he was in fact living in a high-rise apartment on Adelaide Terrace owned by his mother. Another claim that he paid for dozens of expensive meals at some of Perth's top restaurants on his business credit card provided by the organisation before claiming the same meal on expenses from the organisation. And then it was alleged that he had the corporation buy him a $60,000 Lexus while he lived in Perth when he already had a $65,000 Toyota Kluger in his home base in Tom Price. He was also allowed to claim unlimited air travel within WA and business class air travel anywhere at any time within Australia, unlimited cab charge rides, hire a car at any time, dry cleaning and laundry, and the use of a company credit card to buy meals for himself, guests and staff, and the use of unlimited fuel cards and a Coles card presumably to buy groceries on top of his $400,000 salary. It's understood that that Goomla incurred losses of $235,000 in travel and other expense as well. $100,000 in credit card charges could not be accounted for, which is a rather significant rap sheet. And Mr Mavrogiannakis, when confronted with these claims, said, the elders said to me, "Steve, get the money and spend it." And then went on to say, "I did everything in my power to spend the money," which is pretty galling.
Clearly.
Yes, pretty galling sort of statement to make off the back of what I would have thought that the Elder's intent was something very different to how he executed it. So has Oric had any dealings with Goomla on this particular?
So I am informed by my colleague that Oric and past registrars have had done some investigations and looked into Goomla as well as the person in question,
yes.
Senator. So what I would propose that we might be able to do, particularly for you, is take it on notice and provide a brief back to you, specifically about where those investigations are at and what we may have found in the past about that individual.
Okay, I appreciate that. I know you will take the detailed component of it on notice, but can you tell us at this point where things are at with regard to that particular issue? Has it been resolved?
So the understanding that I have at this point in time is that there have been some investigations in the past. Those investigations haven't led to a prosecution.
Right.
But certainly we'll get a more updated brief and provide that to you.
That would be helpful. And you don't know whether those investigations are ongoing?
Not at this point.
Okay. And can you just confirm for me whether one of the investigations concerning this individual includes Mr Mavrogiannakis's alleged bullying of a WAMP to whom apparently he provided a $750 donation and then asked him to ignore allegations that he was recording his staff's telephone conversations and bullying employees. This MP, Mr Stevens, and this is from some time ago, said that Mr Mavrogiannakis effectively threatened and menaced me over issues relating to said conduct. Mr Mavrogiannakis had admitted in a letter written to a staff member that he recorded phone conversations in which she was critical of him, and he had asked her to explain why she should not be effectively dismissed. And then there was a second case where a Goomla staff member, as a result of this, had attempted to commit suicide. I'm led to believe that staff members had complained to Oric about this. So is this one of the investigations that you will provide information on?
Yes, we will. We will go back and see and find out the information and provide that direct to
Because this individual is an individual who's seeking public office and has been for many, many years right around the country, and I just think it's important that people like that are brought to account for such conduct. Minister, do you have a view on this sort of behaviour?
Look, whilst the issues around Goomla are historical, I've been here long enough, and I know that Senator Dodson is aware of these matters, and I know Senator Seward is, and I know without Birmingham, one of the challenges we have is where are they going to turn up next, and I have to say it has avoided me. You know, we're not allowed, in parenthesis, a blacklist about people who are not. So it's actually as part of the CATSI Act amendments to try to share with the board the accuracy of how much you are paying the CEO and some relativities is part of the amendments to the CATSI Act, and that's our closest attempt to do that. But, you know, these individuals, and I won't get into names, but, you know, certainly in Borroloola there was a circumstance some time ago of which they will never recover. They will never recover, and it was just theft. Now, that individual sort of appears again somewhere else. It's very difficult without proper prosecution, and that prosecution often involves people who really are not appraised of the circumstances and events and are asked to sign things that they really don't have the sufficient knowledge, which is why Oric's so important to build that corporate knowledge, and so each of the directors understands where they can get help. Often it's not in their first language, so it's very difficult to put a document in front of them. All of these things we have to do better, and I think I'd share many of the committee's frustrations in we have all tried, all sides of Parliament have tried, and we need to continue to strive to ensure that the boards, when they are making the selection of people that they put their trust in, are fully appraised of that person's background and how they have fared in similar circumstances elsewhere. So it's a work in progress, Senator Duniam.
Thank you, Minister. Thanks, Chair.